you struggle with photos that look flat and muddy? Luminar Neo has a tool that makes your colors pop without going neon. I'm just like everybody else. I've cranked the saturation and vibrance in my post-processing until I ended up with clown colors, like colors that should only be in cartoons. But I learned from my mistakes and I learned how to slightly adjust my colors for realistic results, and this Luminar Neo tool helped me do that. So we're gonna be looking at this photo here of a beautiful canyon in Iceland. First, I'm just gonna crop this a little bit because I want that waterfall in the background to be dead center in the frame. Hit enter, and I'm just going to apply that crop. Now it's time to get to business editing this photo. So I'm gonna do a few edits first, just basic adjustments that I would want to do with this photo. Increase the smart contrast just a little bit, maybe decrease the highlights some, increase the shadows some, and then come down here to color, and I'm just gonna increase the saturation and vibrance of this overall photo. Now if I come down here to structure, that's really gonna make this photo come alive. So I'm gonna increase the amount of structure in this image up to about there, decrease that, and then I'm going to move on to this color harmony tool that's going to make or break your photography. It's gonna make it, I'm gonna be honest with you. If I scroll all the way down to color harmony, it's down at the bottom in this professional section. Click on color harmony, and I have a lot of these edits that just came up. So color harmony is broken down into several different sliders that you can play around with, but they all make really subtle and professional results in your images. So for brilliance, it's really gonna bring out a lot of those colors. You can go all the way up here and make this look ridiculous, but if you slowly slide that down and just add a little bit of touch to this, you can make those colors come out. Now I want this to be a little bit more warm because it has some cool tones down in it. So I'm gonna increase the warmth pretty significantly up to about 50. With that 50, I'm gonna increase my color contrast as well to make those highlights and shadows separate so that I can bring out a lot of those color details in the photo. Now, I'll get to some fixes that we can get to just a little bit later, just to show you the power of this tool, but some of the mistakes to work around once you actually make the adjustments with this tool as well. So split color warmth is really fun to play around with here too. If I increase the warmth on my highlights, you can see that those go a little bit more yellow. I do want them to be a little bit more yellow, and then the cool tones down in the blues, I want those shadows to kind of be a little bit more cool in the photo as well. Next, we have our color balance and our shadows, midtones, and highlights. Let's start with our shadows, and we can just play around with these a little bit and see what works. Since the blue in the split color warmth made them a little bit more blue down in the shadows that I wanted, this is one of those issues that can come up. So if I have shadows selected in my color balance, I can actually increase that color more to more of a red than a cyan, maybe a little bit more magenta, and also a little bit more yellow to decrease the amount of blue that's coming through that image. If I go to my midtones, I can play around with the exact same thing. If I want those midtones to be a little bit more red, green, and yellow, I can play with those. And then for my highlights as well, I can increase my red, green, and then drop that to a little bit more of a yellow look in my highlights as well. Now, a couple issues that this caused in the overall photo is that it made parts of the image a little bit overexposed. The top right corner and the very top of the photo are just a little bit too bright for me. If I go all the way back up to my develop section, I'm gonna go to develop, and I'm just going to drop highlights just a little bit in those sections. And also my blacks and whites, I can drop my whites just a little bit in those sections too, and maybe a little bit in the overall exposure to make them not so hot of areas. Let's look at the before and after to see exactly what we've done in this photo. If I go to the before and after slider, this is what we started with and this is what we finished with. A still realistic photo that looks real, the colors aren't too in your face, but we have a really clean looking photo that isn't fake, clownish, or cartoonish. If this helped you out a lot, here's another video that's gonna help you out a ton as well.